Good day everyone and welcome to this PvP commentary video for Magicka Sorcerer. In this video I'm going to show you a couple of clips where I also talk about what I'm thinking while the fight is ongoing, rather than showing the gameplay with nothing behind it. This is a great way to learn what I'm doing behind the scenes, what I am thinking while I'm fighting, what I prioritize, how I make bursts, how I kite, what is important to do in different situations, which in the end is what PvP is all about. So I'm going to start with this clip here at Janus, where I find myself fighting a whole bunch of EP members. I get charged by this guy, I simply break free and roll dodge and go behind some LOS to reassess the situation. It's just that guy, so I'm going to start focusing him. He goes into cloak, I streak to bring him out, the curse brings him out anyway, but there's a lot of EP coming in as well. So I streak through all the EP and I keep on kiting that way, because I know I will not be able to keep on tanking them, and they will chase me anyway. So I'm looking for a better situation to fight right now. As you can see, there's still a whole bunch of enemies. That one guy that charged into me earlier was not healing, so I tried with some overload if I can kill him. It didn't work, so I have to keep on kiting. I toggle off overload not to waste any ultimate, and then I continue. These EPs are still very much close to me, so I'm going to jump in the crevice of this rock and I'm going to streak through it. This is something I know ahead of time that I can do. I've fought here before, I know the layout of this rock. These EP guys don't know it, and also they're not a sorcerer, so they have a lot of trouble following me. I then continue by going around the rock and focusing that same guy again that charged into me at the beginning of the fight, knowing that he will be an easy kill. Or it's another guy, I don't know, with a very similar playstyle. I then continue with pressuring another guy that kind of plays similarly, with overload as well. I can now spend it all because it's a very controlled fight with only 3 or 4 enemies. I kill that guy that way as well, and then I continue with the Dragon Knight. Overload is a lot of pressure, so I always like to have quite a large stack with it before I continue the fight. That's the end of that fight basically. What's important to remember here is just that as soon as there's a lot of EP coming, it's important to be aware of that, not to be too greedy. Even when you're about to kill an opponent, then you can start kiting. You can know where you are going, so you don't just kite blindly anywhere. You kite to a rock or other kind of LOS or structure that you know, where you can get around in and where your enemies have difficulties following you. And then what that allowed me to do is just come out of around the structure and attack them from the back. That way I could get one guy down before the rest started focusing me, and afterwards this was a very controlled fight where I could just use the stack of overload that I had saved to kill a whole bunch of enemies. The second fight is a bit bigger. You see a lot of AD members here, sieging and fighting at the Lessia Bridge with a lot of EP members on the other side. What I'm going to do is just streak through everything. I applied all my buffs, I have a potion ready, so I have a lot of resources to roll dodge and break free, and I immediately go to this fence. At this fence I know I can jump off easily and get a lot of LOS that way as well, which I end up doing. And now I'm behind the enemy EP group, which is a really nice place to 1vx in, because you can fight some stragglers that are behind the rest, you can be safe from all the sieges, and you can also not have your fights ruined by your fellow players. In any case, I find a bunch of enemies here, I go behind LOS again to recast all my buffs, and I'm joined by another sorcerer who is doing the same thing actually, and from this moment onwards this fight is going to be a 2vx. I'm going to do very much a similar thing as if I would be 1vxing though, so I'm just going to kite whenever I feel like there's too many enemies and I'm too much in open field. I make sure to know where I'm going, to have some LOS nearby, and I'm going to make sure to burst down squishy enemies while leaving the tanky ones for later. So here you can see there's a lot of EPs coming over. I do 2 streaks and immediately I am at this rock. I'm also behind a lot of LOS from the trees that I streak through, which allows me to cast Dark Conversions and just to have a lot of damage reduction. Here I get pulled and stunned and a lot of other things happening, so I just retreat to this rock here. This rock too I know is a safe place to go behind. EPs can go on top of that, but they have difficulties chasing me, so that means I can keep on attacking them while also staying safe. I see this one squishy target here. Even though he has the defensive ultimate from Arcanist, he takes a lot of damage, so I quickly finish him with some overload. Again, keeping a stack of overload to do quick bursts is always a very good idea. With the other sorcerer now, I'm looking for the next squishy target. I roll dodged down the rock here, that was a mistake. Ideally you want to go on the same ledge that I wanted before, but I roll dodged all the way down. No matter, I just go back up and I go for this sorcerer who was in the back and not really paying attention. compared to the guys that are in front, which are more brave, more confident, and often also tankier. I do the same with this guy over here, who is a Dragon Knight and quite squishy. Together with the other Sorcerer, I think we are both seeing the same opportunity to target that one, so we just combine our curses, streak and everything to get him down as quickly as possible. And now it is 3 targets left, 2 of which I think are a bit tankier, one of them even casted a Sword and Board ult despite not being attacked, and then one which is squishy and already died somewhere randomly in the fight. It's just a matter of keeping my shield up and my burst up, and then making burst combos with curse, spammable, streaking through right as the curse explodes, and then a fragment right after. I just did something similar again here. Together with the other Sorcerer, that is a lot of pressure, and that way we win that fight as well. For the highlights of this fight, I definitely want to reiterate how important it is to know where you are going and how to play with the environment. It's a huge amount of the gameplay with Sorcerer. Even in its buffed state, if you want to 1vx properly, you'll likely need some form of terrain or LOS to go behind in case more enemies show up, or in case you are struggling and you need to recast your buffs or heal up. And then a new thing I want to focus on here is the way that every time I kind of ignore the people that are right in front of me, because often those that are the closest to you, constantly right on your track to attack you, are also people that are more confident, and they are more confident because they can be better players or they have better builds, which in any case makes them a tougher target to kill. The first people that you want to kill in any kind of situation, be it 1vx, 2vx, or any kind of loose gameplay in Cyrodiil or in Imperial City or in Battlegrounds, are those that are a bit slower to chase onto you, that stick more in the back or halfway in the group that might be chasing you, those that might be spamming snipe from range, those sorcerers that don't really know what they're doing and just standing from the back heavy attacking. Things like that is really what you need to get an eye for and what you need to focus first, because if you get those players down, that leaves you a lot more room to then properly focus on the players that are tougher to fight, that are right on you, and that often need a much longer burst combo or a stack of overload to kill. This last fight here is at Nickel, where DC are sieging or just took the keep, and now they are swarming out of it, and again I'm trying to find a fight. I'm doing this by just poking different people. I see one guy that's squishy, so I focus him. Unfortunately, he knows how to block and also gets healed by allies, so it's a bit tough. I try to do the same thing with Overload again, since it allows me to deal more damage, but there's a lot of sieges and other guys incoming, so it's important to immediately have the reflex to do a Hardened Ward cancelled in a roll dodge. This allows me to heal up and have a lot of damage reduction at the same time. Here I get hit by a very hard hitting Merciless Resolve, so again I do a similar thing with the Hardened Ward and the roll dodges. You'll see me doing that a lot. And now there's a lot of EP, so it's important to start kiting. I do quick streaks. I see one guy that's squishy behind him. I'm a bit greedy and try to kill him because he's not healing, and I almost die because of that, because it allowed many of the EP, not DC, to catch up to me. I did manage to kill him eventually, I think. I saw some AP pop up in the corner, but now there's so many DC that I absolutely need my rest ult. I'm lucky to have had it here. I quickly do a few attacks into one of the DCs because I saw he wasn't healing, but then I immediately keep on kiting because I know I've spent a lot of resources just now and I need to be careful, especially also because now I do not have that lifesaver anymore. I just do a bit of pew pew, attack somebody from range. That guy was not healing, that's also why I was focusing him at first, and that's an easy kill. Same thing counts for this guy. He's just running around not doing anything, so I quickly finish him off with just a light attack with Crushing Weapon, cancel it to a roll dodge. That's also an important part of gameplay where you want to be able to deal damage and have damage reduction at the same time, which is what I do by casting skills and then roll dodging, but in an offensive sense as well. Here's the guy from the start as well, that guy with the bow who was not healing much but does know how to block. Both these guys do have vigor up, but they're super squishy, which means that I can quickly attack that one guy, you can take him down, and then the second guy as well. You can see that in terms of the strength of the enemies I'm fighting in this clip, it's really nothing special. I get ganked there as well, and again I want to point out the Hardened Ward into the roll dodge, that's important. In any case, that Nightblade ends up running away. And what I want to focus on here is, again, these enemies, they're nothing really that powerful. They heal and block sometimes, but are generally really easy kills, especially if you just face them one by one. But the trick is to get in a situation where you can do that, fight them one by one and not get zerged down by them. And as you can see at the start of the clip, I almost died as well because I got so greedy. It's a situation that I think is something you encounter a lot in Cyrodiil, where no matter the fight that you are in, you see an enemy that is about to die or that is squishy and you start risking things yourself to try and get that kill. That is a greediness, the tunnel vision that affects many players, including myself, and for me it's a daily struggle to try and not surrender to that too much, because if you do that, you will find yourself out of resources or in a very difficult spot to get away of. This counts for any class and also for Sorcerer, where you always need to be on your toes, and sometimes if you don't get the kill, it's okay to keep on kiting away without waiting if you get the kill or not, because otherwise you might die yourself, and that player is not going to make any 1vx's. Anyway, I hope this commentary was useful. You can find the builds that I'm using in the video linked in the description as well as on the end screen in this commentary video. Let me know if you want to hear more like this and what kind of other fights you would like me to deal with and what kind of situations you need help with, and then I'll consider making a commentary of it as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!